Hey there, podcasting badasses. It's your host, Sober Steve, the podcast guy, here with another exciting episode of Podcasting Badass. This week, we are going to be talking about podcasting scams to look out for. I know from the moment that I announced to the world that I was doing a podcast, I was instantly exposed to scams, and I've been able to avoid the majority of them along my 5 years of podcasting, but I will go over all of them with you just so that new potential podcasters out there, or those of us who can be tending towards the more naive, can look out for these scams and learn from our mistakes. So first, I do want to announce that I am accepting Brainstorm and TuneUp applicants so that you can come on the show and receive free coaching so we could talk about how to grow your existing podcast, or we could talk about starting the podcast of your dreams. So you can head on over to sobersteve.com to apply today for either your brainstorming session or your free tune-up, both of which are free. You get a full half hour with me, and then the best 15 minutes of general advice will be turned into an episode to also help promote you and your brand and your podcast, either the one that's already out or the one that's coming. So it's a great opportunity. Get some free exposure and free coaching over at sobersteve.com. I chose today's topic because as a certified podcast growth coach, I have been podcasting for over 5 years. I've been networking with and connecting with other podcasters for so long. I've heard so many different horror stories. And so I'm hoping to pay my experience forward and help save some of you from making the same mistakes that me and my peers have made. So let's get into it. The first one is the good old-fashioned phishing scam. Yes, it happens to more than just seniors being tasked to go out and get gift cards from Walmart. Us podcasters get phished as well. These are when you get messages from strangers offering something that sounds too good to be true, or they're trying to scare you. Either way, they are here to help you. Wink, wink, aka not really. And so with these phishing scams, you'll find users on social media or receive emails from people with unusual, almost fake sounding names reaching out to you to offer to help a problem that you didn't reach out to them about. So this would be different than listening to someone's show about podcasting, going on their website and signing up for their emails. If I was to send you an email in response to that, that would be something that you signed up for. But these are people who randomly out of the blue will just message you saying, hey, do you have a podcast? What is the link? I want to help you with XYZ problem, whether it be getting downloads or listeners or reviews, or saying that there's a problem with one of your, like a legal thing behind the scenes that they can help fix with you, or offering to increase your downloads or social media followers or streams overnight if you just give them some more information. And you might also get things saying that your name, domain, or something else associated with your podcast has broken the laws. And even though no actual legal organization has attempted to reach out to you, this kind stranger is looking out for you and can fix this problem if you give them some more information as well. So the gist of this is that before they even start asking for money, they'll start asking for information about your podcast, which honestly, if they found you, they should be able to find. You know, if someone's messaging my podcasting page asking me at Podcasting Badass, where all my posts are about my social media, hey, do you have a podcast? That's a good sign of a fish, because if they were a human who was using their eyes, ears, and brain, they would see, yes, this is my podcast. This is my podcasting Instagram. You know, things would make a little bit more sense or add up, and it would be a little more personalized. These are very fishy, random, like, just give us all your information and then we'll take care of your problem. You don't want to listen to them. Another thing that people will come and reach out to you and offer you, or that you can find online when you're researching ways to grow your podcast, is that oftentimes opportunities, companies, groups, organizations that will offer to give you reviews for your podcast or downloads for your podcast in exchange for money, so you can buy your downloads and buy your reviews. Now, that sounds great if you can just for a very low price to get you started for what sounds like, again, too good to be true results almost, because they are. So when you're being told that you could for $100, $200 get 5x, 10x downloads overnight magically, you have to ask yourself, who these listeners are that are going to be listening to your podcast. Are they your ideal listener? Are they your ideal customer? Are they the people you're trying to reach? Are they going to listen to more than one episode, or is it one robot in another country who is like clicking re-download? So you really have to think about, if you are magically getting these downloads overnight, where they're coming from and who they're coming from, and if they're actually the people that you want to be reaching. Because if not, it doesn't matter the numbers, because you're trying to reach the humans. And similarly, if someone is offering to leave you reviews and you can all of a sudden have a couple dozen or a couple hundred reviews overnight, I know for a fact that after all these years that Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, all these major companies have systems in place to prevent that from actually happening. And so not only do you risk not getting the number of reviews that you think that you're paying for, but you also risk that these companies and organizations will notice that you are paying for hacked or fake artificial reviews, and then you'll get penalized for it. And no one wants that either. You can't pay to find the perfect ideal listeners, and you can't pay to get reviews overnight. You need to ask your listeners and your friends and people who you connect with over the podcast to give you reviews. And you have to use organic growth as well as inorganic to be able to help grow your podcast to get more downloads. You can't just wave a magic wand overnight without doing something behind the scenes that you're doing, like upgrading and changing your SEO. No one else can do it for you like that. And finally, fake awards and celebrity guests. If someone is saying for just a couple $100, you can interview the celebrity of your dreams, you're dreaming. Just people will say that you can pay for these guests with big names to come on your show. You pay the money, they don't show up. Are you really surprised at that point? Yes, you need to connect with the celebrity or their manager and do your homework and your research as well to make sure that you are properly connected with them. Similarly, there are so many organizations out there that have these amazing awards for podcasts. All you need to do is pay us a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 and you get an award. How exciting is that? Well, when you think about it, if you're having to pay to win the award, are you winning the award or are you buying the award? And if you are buying an award from an organization that's sole purpose is to give up made up awards to podcasters, why are you paying them to make up an award for you when you could just make up your own award for yourself at that point if you wanted to stoop that low? Unless it's an Oscar, an Emmy, or something that you are nominated for by your peers, or you submit an application for and you handpicked and there's no cost associated with it because your content is so awesome. You can't buy awards. Those are scams. They don't mean anything in the long run, so don't waste your money. So with all these things you can't do, what can you do, and how can you trust people out there on the internet or out there in the real world who are offering to help you with your podcast? Well, the two groups or two things that you can look for are paid service providers, legitimate service providers. So these are people from editors and producers to virtual assistants and social media managers. I prefer to be an all-in-one kind of guy, but I know friends who have a full staff behind them on their podcast where it's a person for everything, a person for their website, a person for this, a person for that. And you can do that. And especially the bigger podcasts with the bigger studios have full teams behind them. And so having teams that you outsource to be able to help you in the areas that you don't feel great about podcasting, as long as you are researching them and that they are an organization with reviews and testimonials and a history and a track record of success and policies and procedures, and you've known them, those are people that you can trust with your business, where there's contracts where you know exactly what it is that you're getting the service for and for the money and what the even exchange is of services. When it's clear up front, you know what it is that you're getting. That's great. Then you have coaches like me, where rather than paying someone or someone's or teams hundreds or thousands of dollars a month to keep things going, if you have the intelligence and capability, thanks to technology nowadays, to be able to do a lot of this yourself, why not have someone who's spent hundreds or thousands of hours podcasting over years and years teach you shortcuts and show you what they know and how to get where they are, but faster. That's the exact purpose behind what it is that I do as a podcasting coach full-time. I like my special approach of being the all-in-one guy, so you don't have 18 different teams handling and touching your show and your accounts and everything like that. So if you want more information about my coaching, you can head on over to sobersteve.com. But that is it for the 3 groups or categories of common podcasting scams to look out for. You want to avoid phishing scams, pay to play scam, and fake awards or celebrity guests. Avoid those and trust in paid service providers as well as coaches, and you will be ready to podcast like a badass. Make sure you follow us wherever you're listening for new episodes every Monday. And until then, keep on podcasting.